This may be one of the most important cameras Leica has ever produced. The camera is called the M EV1. It represents a major change for the M system. This new camera will absolutely divide the user base. Traditional Leica users may not appreciate this camera. These are the photographers who love the classic rangefinder. Newcomers to the Leica world will likely welcome it. They will appreciate its modern features. This raises a very important question. Is the M EV1 a true M camera? Or is it really more like a Q camera with an M lens mount? This is the core debate. I personally see both sides of this argument. For decades, the rangefinder has defined the Leica M experience. I greatly appreciate the rangefinder design. It forces a certain way of taking photos. It makes you slow down your process. It demands your involvement in the image. When you successfully capture a sharp image, the feeling is satisfying. You truly worked hard to achieve that photo. This slower process is the enjoyment of the M camera. It makes the Leica M system unique. However, the traditional rangefinder has limitations. Over time, eyesight often becomes a problem. It becomes harder to perfectly align the image. This is true for many longtime photographers. Also, lenses have become much faster. We now have lenses with huge apertures. Lenses at f1.4 are common. Lenses at f1.2 are available. We even have lenses that open up to f0.95. These faster aperture lenses create an extremely shallow depth of field. This makes precise focus very difficult. It is especially hard to nail focus with the traditional rangefinder. The focus tolerance is incredibly thin. Leica recognized this problem many years ago. They created a solution called the VisoFlex. The VisoFlex was a small electronic viewfinder. You attached it to the hot shoe on your Leica M camera. It gave you a magnified electronic view. This external EVF made photography much easier. It helped when using those faster aperture lenses. The drawback was that it increased the overall size of the M camera. It became a bit bulky. Later, Leica released the Leica SL camera. This was around 2015. The SL had a fantastic electronic viewfinder built in. It had a gorgeous 5.76 million dot resolution. You could easily adapt M lenses to the SL body. This feature was a massive success. The beautiful EVF made manual focusing M lenses truly enjoyable. Many photographers bought the SL just to use their M lenses. They loved the focusing experience. Now, we look to the present day. We have the M EV1. This release is 100 years after the first commercially produced Leica film camera. The M EV1 is basically an electronic viewfinder built directly into a Leica M11 body. This is the key point. It is an EVF inside an M11 body. This camera represents what it is, not what some people wished it would be. It does meet many expectations. But I will also discuss what could be improved. Let's look closely at the design, the build, and the feel of the M EV1. At a first glance, it looks familiar. It looks like a standard M11 camera. But the optical viewfinder is gone. The manual ISO dial on the top plate is also missing. There are some subtle design differences. These differences are worth noting. The camera reminds me more of the Q series in certain ways. This is a subtle shift in design philosophy. Look at the top plate of a standard M11. It has a small ridge. It protrudes out slightly. This ridge gives the M11 a three-dimensional look. It adds a subtle classic style. The M EV1 top plate is flat. There is no ridge. The area where the optical viewfinder would be is simply a blank, plain surface. This flat look makes the camera feel more modern. It gives it a more Q-like aesthetic. The camera lacks the traditional ISO dial. This means it is a base, simple top plate. But the grip has also changed. The texture of the camera wrapping is different. It uses a diamond-shaped texture. This is the same texture found on the SL3 and Q series cameras. It is a very modern, grippy material. I personally prefer the classic leather look of the traditional M cameras. You can change the wrap later. It is not a permanent feature. However, if Leica calls this an M camera, it should look like an M camera. The current design leans toward a modern, simple look. It has a Johnny Ive-like simplicity. The M EV1 is currently available only in black. I hope Leica releases a silver version later. Perhaps a P the version will come out. The version would remove the red dot logo. It might feature a classic Leica script instead. That would be a very cool touch. The camera's weight is one of its best features. This camera is very light. It is one of the most enjoyable things about using it. The lightweight makes it versatile. It is easy to carry around all day long. It feels good in the hand. It is very compact. It slips easily into any bag. This is true no matter which lens you attach to it. The Electronic Viewfinder is a key feature. It uses the same EVF as the Q series. It is a 5.76 million dot resolution panel. The shape is the same as the Q EVF. However, there is a key difference in performance. The M EV1 uses a 60 frames per second FPS refresh rate. It does not use the faster 120 frames per second rate. The 120 frames per second rate is found on the SL3 and the Q3. What does the frame rate mean? It measures the smoothness of the image you see. A 120 frames per second view is very smooth. It is clean and never jitters. There is no stuttering effect. The 60 frames per second view is still quite smooth. But you will notice a small difference. Especially in lower light, it may not be as smooth as the faster cameras. I believe Leica reduced the frame rate for a very specific reason. The reduction is likely a firmware choice. They probably did it to save battery power. The M EV1 has the M11's 1800 mAh battery. The Q3 has a larger 2200 mAh battery. The Q3 has more power for the faster EVF. The 60 frames per second experience is similar to the older VisoFlex 2. That older external EVF was only 3.7 million dots. The experience feels similar in terms of smoothness. I really hope Leica adds an option in a future firmware update. They could offer a 120 frames per second mode. It could come with a clear warning. The warning would explain that the battery life will take a hit. But having the option would be great for the user. Now, let's talk about focusing. This is where the camera truly shines. The M EV1 makes focusing with fast aperture lenses so much easier. It makes it much faster than before. The camera has a special setting for this. You can set it to auto magnify. As soon as you begin turning the focus ring, the view magnifies. You get a zoomed-in look at your subject. You can set your desired magnification level. The camera remembers this setting. It is quite responsive when you punch in. There are some minor delays in the pre-production firmware. These delays should be fixed in the final version. This auto-magnification is a fantastic feature. Once you are zoomed in, you use focus peaking. Focus peaking highlights the sharp edges. It shows them in a color like green, yellow, or red. I recommend setting the focus peaking to low. The low setting is more accurate. When it is set to high, everything looks in focus. But the final image can sometimes be slightly off. With low peaking, when the highlight appears, you know the subject is sharp. This focusing system is truly enjoyable to use. I tested it with a very difficult lens. The Optilux f0.95. Focusing that lens on a traditional rangefinder is nearly impossible. You need incredible eyesight. I often wear glasses for driving. I prefer to use diopters on my M cameras. This means buying a separate accessory. With the M EV1, it is very easy to achieve perfect focus. This is the beauty of this camera. It is designed for many people. It is perfect for people who struggle with a traditional optical viewfinder. They want to use the best, fastest lenses. But they do not want to struggle with focusing. The M EV1 completely solves this problem. It also greatly improves close focusing. In recent years, Leica has been making new M lenses. These lenses allow for very close focusing. This was not possible with older M lenses. The standard M lenses have a minimum focus distance of 0.7 meters. The new M lenses can focus much closer. They go down to 0.3 or 0.45 meters. Leica made these new lenses for a reason. I believe the M EV1 was planned for a long time. These new lenses are designed to maximize this electronic body. You get a more versatile experience. Using these new close-focusing lenses on the M EV1 makes perfect sense. The camera also allows you to use older lenses. I discovered that I can now use my old Leica R lenses easily. The R lenses are for a different Leica system. They were never rangefinder coupled. They work beautifully on the M EV1. You do not get the automatic magnification with the R lenses. But you can assign the function button to do the same thing. This was a great experience. I used a 250mm f4 lens for a concert. I was far from the stage. But I could easily focus the lens. This is excellent news for our lens users. It is also great for photographers on a budget. A Leica R50mm submicron is much cheaper. It is less expensive than an M-mount submicron. The M EV1 can fully maximize those budget-friendly lenses. The image quality will be fantastic. You will truly enjoy the experience.